What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Fan Scripture On Air podcast with your hosts, Flash205 and your boy Proteus.
Yo.
And we have a very special episode for you guys because we got two guests, Jornk Lonkitt.
Don't mock the shock, baby.
That was my line.
And then we got our second guest, Senna0202.
Hey, how's it going?
What if my Senna0202 turns into a lizard?
Okay, so as you might be able to tell, we have a very FOES planned episode for you guys.
We got a very surprise announcement last night. Why don't you tell them what it is, Flash?
FOES 3 is now in production.
It's not in production yet, which should be noted, but soon, very very soon. Presumably when Foes Go to Hell wraps up, which also I think is going to be very soon. Creator Nigerian Prince will not leave us hanging on that one. What theories do you guys have about Foes 3? Personally, I think maybe it'll be the story where we finally see the introduction of Gus Fring into the Raimiverse. What do you think, Jorg? Sounds like something.
I don't think the Neo Raimiverse is capable of comprehending his form as is, even though that is the form I comprehend him as.
He's too much of a badass queer icon. I know.
Facts.
Essentially, yes. I'll tell you guys a little something spicy.
Okay.
I can't share it, but I do know some insider info, just a bit about FOES 3.
All right.
I can't. Now I'm not going to leak anything, obviously, but luckily for the sake of this discussion, I don't know everything about it, so I can still get into the realm of theorizing. Personally, looking forward to seeing what they do with Rhino in this, because his character for me has just been getting better and better.
Oh yeah, he really has been becoming a more fleshed out character. I'm really interested to see what happened after that ending to Foes 2. Like, what will happen to Carly and Mr. Shocker himself? I'm sure solving the Shockerberg is something that is a revelation that could not be contained in just one end.
Yeah, and another thing that's going to be fun is seeing what exactly is done with Shocker, because as you guys know, I always love whatever's going on there. You know, Spider-Man 5, Spider-Man 6, you know, all that's like, even that stuff which wasn't even like in the direct FOES series, I still love doing that stuff.
He's a great character, and you play him very well too. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays out in FOES 3.
Shocker did influence the most chaotic, evil emote in all fan scripture, Shocker Cringe.
Very, very, very controversial. A force for good if used right, but so many didn't. But that's a conversation. That's a conversation
For another time, yeah. I'm sure.
Yeah, that's a conversation for another episode. Anyways, speaking of, I thought maybe it would be a great idea if we took a look back at the previous two Foes movies, as well as how Foes Go to Hell has gone so far. So, Senna, Jornk, why don't you tell us about your experiences for the first Foes movie? I officially joined Fan Scripture about a month after you started that, I think. But I must say, it really is one of the funniest things that was on the server at the time. Of course, it's only gotten more and more in that direction. That was sort of like the pioneer of the comedy FS script, whereas SM4 was much more of the dramatic type.
Well, yeah, it was definitely a much different experience than now. Projects are now. It was a time where the production of that went on before the outline actually started. And as much, and now it's, you know, the outline has to be created before it's even greenlit. But in those days, we got the title and we
otherwise
started
you get Acid or Spider-Man Legacy.
Yeah. But yeah, I had such a blast with that. It still was very unorganized. You know, there was no days where the sessions would really happen once a week. I'd ask if anyone wants to do it, and when we did, we got it. We had 5-6 people on at once, and when we got it right, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing that, and everyone did a perfect job at the roles.
I mean, I would disagree. Stiltman.
Oh, come on, Flash.
You're too hard on yourself, Flash.
You're so hard on yourself. He's not just Maple Syrup Man, all right?
Yes,
you are
he is.
Stiltman,
Yes,
and
he
you
is.
own it.
I ruined that character.
I just want to point out that the whole FOES experience, looking back, it's kind of surreal how fast it happened too. I'm not sure if you
Yeah,
remember.
we were behind schedule too, ironically.
Yeah. I still remember some of the first early concepts we had for FOES, which believe it or not included Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, we had a few ideas. I remember I think, did we make like a little separate chat for it? I think we did.
We did,
early,
yeah.
very early on.
Yeah, I remember actually Nigerian Prince. He made he made a chat just with me and Spider, I believe, and he put his own type outline for it. And
Oh yeah,
there
that's
were like
right.
3 or 4 different chats with the planning of this film.
FOES 2, that scene with the the recruitment. That scene was originally supposed to be in FOES 1. That kangaroo joke I made, Shocker made. I had that planned for FOES 1, but we didn't have that in the end.
Man, that if it wasn't FOES 1, that might have actually been a clever way to introduce the scrap Doctor Strange thing. But oh well. Doctor Strange and FOES. It's pretty good. It's taken.
Yeah.
Now, but like FOES 1 is it's definitely so fun looking back, and I have a lot of fun memories. One of my favorite memories is when we did the chase scene. If you guys remember that.
I remember that.
Oh, the chase scene. Yes,
I really enjoyed
remember
that as much as I enjoyed the rest of the movie.
With like George Stacy and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was good. Well, it was definitely, like I said, a much different time in fan scripture.
Oh god, yeah. It's still early fan scripture.
A lot of leaned back. Much more leaned back than it was now.
A lot more messages being deleted in the script.
Yeah. Well, when you have 5 or 6 people on the screen at once and they're all sending messages at the same time, it's bound to happen. But we managed. Thankfully, we managed.
It's honestly amazing that we made through that, and it's still a script I can look back on and be like, yeah, that was really good.
And the thing about that is that it was solely based on characters that were never supposed to take off. They were just supposed to be at the beginning of Spider-Man 4, and then never to see them again.
Yeah.
It's amazing how different things would be if that never happened.
Those were the days. But how far you've come. And speaking of that ending, I must say I actually believed for a second that Jack-o'-lantern was Goblin, because it was really good visual storytelling to sort of hide him behind like the laugh and the curtains and the shadows before they revealed it was just Jack-o'-lantern doing a really good
Yeah, he was a good character. I liked when we wrote the outline for him, and Chucky did a superb job playing him.
Oh yeah, he did so good with it. But you did so good as Aaron Senna.
Oh, thank you very much. That's very kind of you to say. Fun character to play. Thankfully, I've been able to. I thought after FOES 1 that was going to be it, but thankfully now we have FOES Go to Hell, and I was able to play him. Still now, but
I'm so glad you came back. I was glad to be a part of that, because I honestly thought I wasn't as much of a good part of Spider-War as Goblin, as much as I was Doc Ock, but surprisingly, Nigerian thought I was good enough to warrant me coming back.
What I really like about FOES Go to Hell is I remember I was looking at the cast one day, and it's really just a reunion of all the original projects that we did.
Yeah, it's a very nostalgia tone type of project.
They forgot my man Stiltman.
Because he went to heaven, that's why he didn't go to hell.
That's canon. Put that in the records, that's canon.
Canon.
Speaking of Stiltman, and Stiltman also served as the motivation for my character in FOES 2. Speaking of FOES movies, Hydra Man, that can't be discounted. Even if he didn't quite come in till the end of the film, I still think that's very significant.
I suppose, but still.
I gotta say, Proteus.
Yeah.
Your Hydra Man performance, I still really liked it. Yeah, especially the addition you gave him. No, I remember the second we saw your addition, we were like, yeah, he's perfect.
It was funny because I was actually going for Silver Sable before that, because I was thinking, because I honestly was like, I want to go for a Hydra Man, but I want to, cover my bases. But Chucky did a great job as Sable, so I'm glad that he got that role. Get in the damn car.
From ocean to ocean, you're just gonna have to be Hydra Man.
I think that was funny. I laughed a lot at that. It was funny.
Do you think he'll appear in FOES 3, you think?
I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I don't know yet, but I definitely have to see more of a Hydra Man.
I was low-key scared Sandman was just gonna fucking kill him in FOES 2, but thank God for DeVito Big Wheel. Speaking of, speaking of iconic film moments,
Perfect casting.
Big Wheel emerges naked from the Wheelmobile Best Dino.
When we did FOES 1, we didn't have anyone cast as him or Moon Knight for that instance, because again in those days we didn't really cast anyone that wasn't already cast from either the Raimiverse movies or previous films. So Moon Knight wasn't cast either, but yeah.
Who played Big Wheel? Like not Danny DeVito, but like who?
Master Chef.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, that DeVito, the DeVito like impression or like how he acted like DeVito, like it was really good.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm really glad he got involved with fan scripture because like I'll tell you this. I remember when I introduced him to it, and like he would tell me whenever he finished like a script in the Neo Raimi trilogy, and now we have him in a Fantastic Four project, and we had him as Big Wheel, so that's pretty huge.
Yeah, it's good. He's come a long way, and I'm happy he has.
Yeah.
You think your friend Evan Jemima will ever become an FS gamer?
He's looked into some things, but I can't say anything yet. He definitely wants to look into more of the FS stuff because I told him about like stuff that we've written like Spider War or even my entry at the what's it called film festival.
So Jornk, do you want to talk about FOES 2?
Oh yeah, so I'm not sure if any of you guys know this, but even when FOES 1 wasn't even finished, me and Flash were in DMs talking about like sequel potential because here's the deal, we knew what was gonna happen to the FOES in Spider-Man 5.
Yeah, I remember in the behind the scenes chat when you guys told us that you were going to do the second project. I was really excited for that because I just thought that it was going to be Pack Your Foes of Spider-Man and that's it. That was going to be it for that. But you guys did such a good job with the second movie. It wouldn't happen any other way.
I remember I was super hyped about when I made it, and I was even more hyped to learn this is going to be a thing and we're going to do this.
Still kind of bummed that Mysterio was killed off, but he's too OP of a character. Truly, he would have just totally made it too easy for him the second time around.
Honestly, ever since I've seen Far From Home, it just made me remember that hey, we have an FS Mysterio and he's great and he did
I
good.
thought the same.
But on the topic of what's it called, FOES 2, me and Flash actually had this alternate idea, like let's say for example like in SM5 none of the FOES that died, and how that would have gone, like for FOES 2, like.
Oh really? This is the first I'm hearing that.
Yeah,
I think we planned it out like before we knew they were gonna die, and then we had this whole plan about Mysterio, or they would all came back together, but then we found out they'll die at the end of Spider-Man 5.
Yeah.
The Spider told us, and then our dreams were crushed, and then we had to write a script without them, most of them.
At least most of those guys came back in FOES Go to Hell, so it feels a lot better knowing that we got to see more Mysterio. Heck, Mysterio and Ash.
I think they're a good combination of characters too. The duo, especially how the experiences from FOES shows. It's like time hasn't passed from that period.
Another thing I want to note about FOES 2. I like the fact that for some reason some sick demented part of me is like, hey, why don't we use the finisher, the one guy who accidentally killed himself trying to fight Spider-Man in the comics?
Well, that was the whole point of it's good that you used him, because the whole point of FOES was to use these kind of forgotten, not so forgotten because it was Rhino and Mysterio, but especially in FOES 2, all these forgotten Spider-Man villains that really never saw the light of day outside of a couple comics. So the finisher was really perfect for that.
Yeah. I like how we had that connection.
Plus, we had a version of Carl Fierce that didn't just show up at the end and was like, "Yo, we're gonna form this epic team and stuff." Shame we didn't include a special projects room that would have truly made for Class A cinema.
Of course. And I said this with Flash when we were playing this out. I said his death still has to be somewhat similar to how he died in the comics, where he launches a missile which accidentally kills him.
This time was a lot more dramatic and less comedic than in the.
Yeah. Of course, I disagreed with I would disagree with my past self. My past self's perfect idea of that scene was for him to go, oh, just like Green Goblin, but I'm like, nah, that's too referencey.
And how was it directing FOES 2? I understand FOES 2 was your first like project that you directed. There was FS Christmas, but like the first non-pre-written one. And there was also Flash 205's first time co-director.
Yeah. Woo. Yeah. Wow, that worked out great, man.
We understand. You were busy at the time. We all go through some rough phases. Nobody's holding that against you.
I was busy playing on my Switch. playing Zelda.
We all make mistakes.
It
no
was
problem.
one time. It was one time. I swear to God.
Look where we are now. Nobody's mad at you, dude.
Yeah, it's not the first
Exactly.
time someone's played games for in a fan scripture session. I remember one time in Spider-Man 4 when Vic was still around, we were doing a scene, and like halfway through his scene, he started playing something on his PC. I don't remember what it was, but just in the middle of.
Did you guys, like? There's that one time when we were doing a FOES, okay, like a FOES, what's it called, a session, and I talked to you guys. I said, by the way, I'm gardening while I'm typing on my phone.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was just like hosing down. I was just hosing down flowers while doing that. It was like my dedication.
Cage got mad at me during the last session of Wonder Woman: Fall of the Gods because it said that I was playing Red Dead 2 on my Xbox, but I'd invited my friend over because we were unsure if we were actually going to do the final session that day. So I was like, here, you play for a few minutes, dude. And I just handed him the controller while we were doing the epic final scenes. Worked out good enough, though.
But yeah, on the main topic of directing, it was definitely a new experience for me, and you know what? It's an experience I needed so I could learn. Okay, what's wrong? What's wrong to do? What's right to do? I definitely
You only can learn that through experience.
Yeah, you can only learn that through experience, and
I definitely learned that through experience, but yeah, we all gotta learn some point. And I think it was good for you, and you know, it definitely still turned out good. Like it wasn't a case where it's just bad, but you got good experience. Like FOES 2 actually turned out really, really strong. Not as comedic as the first, but it takes a more dramatic shift that I think really, really worked because you made Shocker not just being some random asshole in an oven mitt suit really believable. And I gotta commend you for that because he's treated like a joke in a lot of Spider-Man media.
Yeah, I've always appreciated him, and I can't remember where like the root of that is, where I originally did, but I just kept going with it because I really liked this character. I really liked a lot of the interpretations in the cartoons, and to have like this solo movie with him and not solo movie. This movie,
The
where
epic
he's, like,
90s cartoon where he gets to just wear his costume in jail while he's
Yeah,
sleeping
you saw
in his
that picture.
bunk.
For anybody who doesn't get that, in the 90s cartoon, there's a part where Chameleon's like freeing people, and he frees Quentin Beck and Scorpion. They're not in their suits, but Shocker,
Yeah, I remember that.
he's never called Herman Schultz. He's only called Shocker in that. It's kind of fun.
I really think if you try, you could take almost any, even the most obscure comic characters and really make them into obscure comic villains and really make them intimidating and ruthless and really entertaining. I mean, unless they're just characters that have like no character, like if you're just scraping the bottom of the barrel.
In the 90s Spider-Man series, they actually made the Spot a pretty legitimate threat to the point where
that was surprising to me.
I mean, the Spot is kind of OP.
But you can make any character good if you just have good writing. Like it doesn't matter how obscure, how dumb they are, like how dumb they sound, or like the idea. Like all you gotta do is just take a character and just put good writers on it. You know,
and I still want to take as much as I could from Shocker's origin. That's why in his origin, FOES 1, he mentions how his parents are dead, because like that's actually true to the original, Shocker, and same with the whole him becoming that engineer. It's not how he became an engineer in the comics. He became an engineer before he actually went to jail, and that's how he made the suit in the comics. But I kind of switched it around.
Yeah, a lot of the origins were loosely based, or I remember in the early stages they were pretty much just like the comics, but I think they were done in a.
I goddamn love how Prowler was a window washer. I just love that.
Yeah, I think that was a funny thing too.
the only one that wasn't like accurate, I think, was mine. Still in the first FOES.
Not maybe not the most accurate. Maybe not. Like say what you want about a Stiltman Flash, but you gotta admit that origin story is still funny. Like the way it mimics the first Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's the one actual like thing I'm proud of with that performance was that first scene I did.
It was great.
I spent a long time trying to figure out how to do it. I'm like, oh, what if I could mimic the first Spider-Man movie, but I knew I wanted to do it about maple syrup. I wanted him climbing up the shelf because he's like short and you know. I imagined him. I don't know why I imagined him as Trask. Like
Well, we have an emote for that now, so.
Anyways, I just imagined him as that for some reason, even though but I imagined him as whatever his name is. I forget his stupid name. Whoever played Trask, who was supposed to play Trask. But that's the one thing I'm most proud of my Stiltman performance. Other than that, it's like, you know.
That origin's still very good.
You should also be, you know, you should be proud of a lot more than that, Flash. I mean, like we've discussed before, you make a pretty good Batman.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree.
I try my best.
I remember because like I ignored like DC fan scripture for a long time. When I finally got in, I'm like, whoa, Flash is Batman. It's pretty impressive.
I mean, I was shocked that I got the role too. Like I was like, what? I tried out for Joker. I auditioned for Joker. I'm like,
I'm the Joker, baby.
I'm the Joker.
I was going for Batman. I wasn't even trying for Joker, and then Johnny looked at my Joker lines, and he was like, "Yo, he was like, I don't know about that Batman audition, but do you want to be the Joker?"
That's what he said. That's what Chucky said to me. Is like, I don't know about your Joker, but like, you did really good as Batman.
Cinematic parallels. I'm telling you, this is a sign. This is a sign, people. So yeah. Moving a little further into it, let's talk about your overall FS careers. Speaking of all of our acting stuff, what would you guys say that your proudest roles are? Senna, Jornk, both of y'all. Y'all can just chime in.
There's actually two. One of them's obvious. One of them comes in second place. The obvious one is Shocker, as you all know, because people really liked how I did him in just that short time in Spider-Man 4. The way I could expand him was just amazing, and I'm so glad I got the chance to like do that and even have, you know, some creative freedom in putting in the origins, like us and the other users put that into the FOES, right? Like we kind of helped build a story in that way, and I like that. And like the kind of death and development of that, like him in Spider-Man 6, that was so fun. It was just so satisfying, like with that final Craven scene.
Yeah.
And going to the second one I'm most proud of, I would actually have to say TASM Spider-Man. That was also a blast because because you know I want to be accurate but not annoying.
Oh, boys in blue here, yo! I got him. Small knives, anything but knives.
It was a Mother Hubbard moment.
F for TASM, Harry. And what about you, Senna?
I think it's probably going to come out as obvious, but I liked playing Prowler a lot because I got to, like Jornk said, I got to expand on this character who was, frankly, not a lot of people knew about him, and he wasn't that developed, you know, in the comics in terms of, you know, a lot of other villains. But, you know, playing him and expanding him was fun. I do enjoy another obvious one, which was the Raimi Spider-Man. That one's a lot of fun to play too.
You did great at both of those.
Thank you so much. That means a lot.
Honestly, you did really good. Like, you were really great as Prowler, but honestly, I think your performance as Raimi Spider-Man might be one of the best FS performances ever.
Wait. Speaking of that, Senna, can you do the famous "My aunt is a wizard" or whatever meme?
Yes. Yeah.
Can you say it?
Just for the fans. For the fans.
You want me to scream it?
I mean,
you can
that
say
would
it however
be
loud you want.
If it's not gonna bother anyone.
I don't know, maybe at the end of the video.
Oh,
Right.
Wait, at the end?
Oh.
They gotta
Maybe
watch
at
till
the
the end? They gotta listen to the end?
If you like this video, hit all the notifications if you want to hear him say the line.
Okay.
On the other side of...
Can we get 50 likes on this podcast?
On the DC side, I really enjoyed playing... I still enjoy playing Alfred. I really like him as a character, and I enjoy playing him.
Might I persuade you to take a sandwich with you, sir?
I'll get drive-through.
iconic. Yeah, you do really good as that. I gotta give you props for that.
So what about you, Proteus?
As for my favorite roles, I guess I would have to. Well, first, Marvel fan scripture wise, I personally really liked being a Flash Thompson in Amazing Fantasy. Although I can't really call that a favorite since, while that was certainly a good concept, it unfortunately was not executed to its best potential. But I think one of my favorite roles is probably being Doc Ock in Spider-Man. That was, I feel like that was my big break acting wise, because before that, while I had a lot of roles, they were mostly little side characters or characters that were really designed to be supportive roles, but I really liked just sort of breaking into the role of just over the top crazy villains. I think I do those really well.
I think you did a good
job. Of course,
job.
Norman Osborn.
I really like the part where he's like,
Thank you.
like, oh, 3 Spider-Man, and he's like, 3 more of you to kill. I just found that really funny.
I was actually gonna add a joke to the end of that little demonstration, but before we start, has anyone lost a large roll of $20 bills and a chopped off hand? Because we found the hand, but Spider moved on with the Spider moved on with the scene before we could really get there. I put it in discussion though.
I feel like that would be in like the 2.1 version.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. That's up to Spider, who gotta give him props for Spider-War, truly epic. And DC wise, I've really enjoyed being Killer Moth and Joker and Vengeance. Truly, those are 2 roles I really love doing. Especially Killer Moth, now that he has a much bigger role. Not to discount my Joker, because I think I do it pretty good. I take more.
You did them both pretty well, I'd say.
I take more inspiration from the classic Jokers and the more modern idea of like the anarchist
icon. You can tell that as you're reading the script.
Especially Mark Hamill and Jack Nicholson. That's really who I picture, mostly Mark Hamill. And
very great.
Of course, I loved being Superman X in Legion of Superheroes. I honestly didn't think I was doing all that great, first of all, but then people seemed to really like it as we moved on and he became a bigger part of the picture. So I'm really proud with where we ended up script-wise.
Yeah, you did a good job for Superman X especially. That's a role that really fits you.
Oh, thank you. Originally, I don't think Chucky was really all that enthused the first time I auditioned, so I was like, you know what, I want to try this again. So I sent it in, and he was like, better. So I was like, well, does that mean I got it or not? And then like a week later I got it, so I was like, well, I guess it worked out, and he really liked my performance, so I'm really proud of that.
It's really good that you had the confidence to just go in there again.
Yeah, I mean, it was a role that I guess in a way, ironically, since I play the Goblin now, I was like Willem Dafoe really pushing Sam Raimi for that role as Goblin. I wasn't necessarily sure that he wanted to give the role to me, but I wasn't gonna stop until I knew if I got the role or not, because I was really passionate about it. Other than me, though, I gotta admit, as much as I like that, Saturn Girl, Bouncing Boy really still shows.
Yeah, I think Bouncing Boy was definitely the star of the show, so to speak.
I would argue it's Saturn Girl, but Bouncing Boy was certainly a star, our show stealer in just about every scene he was in. I can't deny that.
I definitely liked my favorite part of Legion as a production was when Looney did the Joker joke with the edited photo of Bouncing Boy.
Oh yeah, that
was really funny.
that was amazing. Isn't it an emote on the server right now?
I used to be.
Joker's trick.
Yeah, I used to be.
And I guess if I had to say like one more Marvel FS thing I was really proud of. I know I've been a little down on it myself lately because I'm not the most iconic. I really liked what I had done in my
female talking to Human Torch in the movie, the one who says to do the fire thing? Because that was a really good role of yours.
Okay, I must say I do a really good party girl, but I was gonna say Electro in Back in Black. Now granted, he was only in like 2 scenes and I fell asleep during the last one, and I definitely wouldn't say that I can't say I'm the best FS Electro either, because I gotta give that to Hydra Looney's breakout role as Electro and Sensational. I think it was genius. I knew we saw something in him when we cast him as Electro for that show, even if it never went where we wanted it to. But I think I did a good job as, a really angry, really sad guy who was, dying of cancer, and it was all Peter Parker's fault. It was like you took Spectacular version of the character and you added a lot more emotional depth to him than just, oh, I can't go out in public and look normal while I'm going to get my coffee. I must destroy humanity.
Oh, no coffee, no deal.
Can't even take a sip of my gosh dang coffee. I gotta kill Dr. Connors.
He deserved to get kicked into that pool at the end of the episode.
Rot. Well, I think that's about everything we can say for this epic FOES trilogy retrospective, all the roles we're most proud of. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on. Really glad to have your...
It's been really fun, honestly. It's great.
Well, that's been it.
Wait, isn't Senna supposed to do the thing?
No, it's okay. We can.
Senna, no, you gotta say it.
No. Come on, say the line, Senna.
I really want to say.
Okay, I'll say it. What if my aunt turns into a lizard? There you
Epic,
go.
groundbreaking cinema. This is true cinema. So good. You said it perfectly too. Thank you so much for that.
Hard.
And I appreciate you coming on this podcast, Senna. I know.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been looking forward to this. for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah. I've been really excited for you to come on too, man. We love you guys. Glad you're here. And yep, I think we will conclude this episode of the podcast there. Thank you so much for watching, guys. That's been it from you,
See you
boy
later, guys.
Proteus.
Bye.